In the United States, a single sentence written more than 150 years ago decided who belongs and who doesn't. It's a rule that shaped what it means to be an American. But in 2025, that rule is being challenged again. So what does it really mean to be an American by birth? And why does this idea still divide the nation today? After the Civil War, America tried to rebuild itself from the ground up. 3 new amendments changed everything. One ended slavery. Another gave African American men the right to vote. And the third, the 14th Amendment, quietly redefined who counted as a citizen. It never mentioned race. It never mentioned slaves. It simply said, if you're born here, you belong here. That single idea is what we now call birthright citizenship, the principle that the place of your birth determines your nationality. But in 2025, the debate has returned. When Donald Trump signed an executive order to end birthright citizenship for the children of non-citizens, it reignited a centuries-old argument. Federal judges blocked the order, calling birthright citizenship a foundation of democracy. Still, the question lingers. Should everyone born on U.S. soil automatically be American? To understand how we got here, we have to go back nearly 200 years, to a time when citizenship wasn't written anywhere in the Constitution. At the nation's founding, there was no official definition of who was an American. The idea existed only as a habit inherited from English common law, just solely the right of soil. If you were born within the realm, you were a subject of the king. America borrowed that idea without writing it down. For 70 years, it worked until the country's greatest moral conflict tore that assumption apart. In 1857, a man named Dred Scott, enslaved since birth, was taken into free territory by the man who owned him. Scott sued, arguing that stepping on free soil made him a free man. His case reached the Supreme Court. Their ruling became one of the darkest moments in American legal history. The court said Dred Scott was not free, and more than that no person of African descent could ever be a citizen of the United States. Not by birth, not by law. That decision split the nation in two, citizens and non-citizens, and helped ignite the Civil War. When the war ended, the Union wanted to make sure that ruling could never happen again. In 1866, Congress passed the Civil Rights Act, declaring that everyone born in the United States was a citizen. President Andrew Johnson objected, warning it would make Gypsies and Chinese citizens as well. Congress overrode his veto, an act almost unheard of at the time. Yet lawmakers feared a future Congress could repeal it. So they decided to carve the principle of birthright citizenship into the Constitution itself. In 1868, the 14th Amendment was ratified. It said, all persons born or naturalized in the United States, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States. That final phrase, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, would become the most debated few words in American legal history. What did it mean? Did it include the children of immigrants, or only those whose parents were citizens? During congressional debates, one senator asked bluntly, would this make the children of Chinese people citizens? Another replied, yes, the child of an Asian is as much a citizen as the child of a European. Their intent was clear. They meant for anyone born on U.S. soil to be American. But not everyone agreed then, and not everyone agrees now. A few years later, a wave of anti-Chinese sentiment swept across the country. In 1882, Congress passed the Chinese Exclusion Act, banning Chinese immigrants from becoming citizens. But the law said nothing about their U.S.-born children. That question would soon be tested by a man named Wong Kim Ark, Born in San Francisco to Chinese parents, Wong left to visit family in China. When he returned, officials refused to let him re-enter, claiming he wasn't a citizen. His case reached the Supreme Court in 1898. The court ruled in his favor. Wong Kim Ark, they said, was a U.S. citizen by birth. The justices defined the only exceptions: the children of foreign diplomats, of certain Native American tribes, and of enemy armies occupying U.S. land. Everyone else born here, regardless of their parents' status, fell under American jurisdiction. From that day on, birthright citizenship became settled law. It wasn't just a policy or an interpretation. It was constitutional. But legal consensus doesn't always mean public consensus. By the 1980s and 1990s, as immigration increased, birthright citizenship became a political flashpoint again. Some lawmakers argued that undocumented immigrants didn't fall under U.S. jurisdiction, comparing them to diplomats' families. Others warned that ending birthright citizenship would create millions of stateless children. Even today, polls show around 40% of Americans believe that children of undocumented immigrants should not receive automatic citizenship. The same debate echoes across talk shows and campaign rallies, proof that the argument never truly ended. What many don't realize is that the 14th Amendment itself was born out of conflict. After the Civil War, several Southern states refused to ratify it. Congress made their return to the Union conditional on approving the amendment. In a sense, it was more than a law. It was part of the peace treaty that rebuilt the United States. That's what gives the 14th Amendment its unique power. It wasn't only written to define citizenship. It was written to redefine America. And yet, more than a century later, the same question keeps resurfacing: who truly belongs? From Dred Scott to Wong Kim Ark, from the battlefields of the Civil War to modern courtrooms, every generation has wrestled with the same idea: the right of soil. The belief that being born here makes you part of here is as much a moral promise as a legal one. So in 2025, as new challenges rise and political tides shift again, America faces a familiar choice. Will the nation hold on to that promise written in 1868, or rewrite it for a new era? Because at the heart of this debate isn't just a sentence in the Constitution. It's the story of what kind of country the United States wants to be. If you believe history should be understood, not repeated, hit like, share this video, and subscribe to neXus, because understanding where laws come from helps us see where they might lead next.